One of the biggest things my father taught me growing up was how important it is to put aside money in case of an emergency. And I think now more than ever, especially given the circumstances, we want to make sure that we have finances put aside for the well-being of our families or that unforeseen circumstance. With me today is LaVon Spears. She is the financial education specialist at Coastal Community and Teachers Credit Union to teach us a little bit more about why we need to consider saving up an emergency fund. Thank you for joining me, LaVon.
Thank you for having me again. It's so good to be here.
It's great to have you. I'm always looking forward to these interviews because you truly teach us so much and we always have a takeaway. So first of all, tell me, what exactly is an emergency fund?
So an emergency fund is just what it says, an emergency. You know, we have things that come up in our home that the plumbing, you have a plumbing issue, that's an emergency. You wasn't expecting that. An emergency fund, an emergency is unexpected things that you have happen in your household or could be personally with you, with sickness, and you have to get some medicine you hadn't planned on, or, you know, a medical bill that comes up, and it's just what it is, an emergency. You were not expecting that. And so having that emergency fund is so important.
Okay, so why do I need one? I know that all these things can happen, but there's plenty of other people who will lend me money to take care of these problems, right? So why should I have an emergency fund?
Well, you said lend you money, so you got to give it back. Okay, just want to point that out. If you have the money, then you're borrowing from yourself. Okay, you're taking the money from what you already have. It takes the stress of it off of you, you know, having to go and ask somebody, you know, can I borrow a few dollars? You know, I had an emergency coming up, something unexpected happened, because you don't have that emergency fund. So when you have that emergency fund, it helps keep things in motion. You don't have to not pay this bill. Anybody, you understand what I mean? You know,
Yes.
robbing from Peter to pay Paul, that old saying, you know, I don't have to not do this so I can go ahead and take care of that. It takes the stress off of it. You're able to keep afloat. You're able to still pay your regular bills and just go ahead and pull from your emergency fund to take care of that item that just happened today.
Okay, so that really puts things in perspectives. And I ask because many of us were not raised to learn to save things for an emergency. Many of us live month to month, and it's inevitable, especially given the circumstances we're in now with people being unemployed. But when it comes to an emergency fund, what's a realistic amount for me to consider saving and in the end to end up with?
That's a great question. You know, $500, okay? You start out with $500, you know, trying to reach that goal. Now, not you like, I don't have $500 just to go put in a savings account. You definitely want to work up to that, but that's a short term. You want to do $500 and then work your way up to 6 months worth of living expenses. What are your living expenses? Now you're going to save up to that. Okay. Because when those big items come that you have to replace or something that you have to do, you'll have the money for that. Or loss of a job. You have given yourself enough time and saved enough money where you can live off of that.
Now, how do I build an emergency fund? Say I'm in a situation where I'm living paycheck to paycheck and pinching pennies. How am I going to find a way to save money?
Okay. You know, start with the change. Start with the smallest things. A lot of times we carry a lot of change. Interesting thing that we had one time is having someone save dimes. We had someone saving dimes, the smallest of everything, although it is 10 cents, it's not 1 cent. But if you think about in a small container about like this, about that big, that's $35. I counted it out. I did it as a project. And it was $35. And basically you just take $5 and dump those dimes in there, or every time you get a dime, put it in there. It packs up. We had someone that saved thousands of dollars to go on a trip to Disneyland. They only saved dimes. Get the family involved. Get the family involved and say, hey, darling, if you find any dimes, put it in there. And sometimes when you go walking, look down. You might find some change.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm thinking about my grandmother so much because she could not walk past a penny on the ground either. She had no shame, and neither do we. A
Exactly.
generation will pick up pennies and coins off the ground. And I'm thinking now maybe that's why we're in a coin shortage, because all of us have that container of coins at home. And if not, it's a great way to start saving. So I love that you suggest that, because it truly does add up. And whether you decide to use it towards a vacation or you finally cash it in, invest it in the bank, and start earning interest for that emergency savings, I think it's
Right.
beneficial. And it's one of those things, again, a little reward for something you were kind of doing unconsciously or subconsciously, just throwing that change in there.
And
So,
if you do it together as a
yeah.
family and say, hey, once we fill this container up, we're going to take it to the credit union and we're going to deposit it.
Yeah. Yep. And it's an exciting thing to look forward to, especially for the youngsters. And it's important to teach them at a young age. But for everyone watching at home, it's never too late to start. So start today. Go grab all the change you can find in your house, put it in a jar, and make that a new fun project for you and your family to participate in, which in turn will help you pay for that vacation,
Yes.
that unforeseen emergency. Lavon, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. I love the takeaways that we get from these experiences. And we can't thank Coastal Community and Teachers Credit Union enough for your help. Now, for anyone who does want to go ahead and start the savings, where can we go for more information?
Contact Coastal Community and Teachers Credit Union at 361-985-6810. One of our friendly financial services partners will be glad to help you, or you can go to our website at www.myccatcu.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lavon. It's great talking.